himself their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and ever again divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing it something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He gave me crown not good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his face on thee. And you ought to love him for it, because he crowned that good. He told me he would. Every brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, Lord, I thank you, Lord.
Good afternoon, everyone. Without further ado, my name is Robert Wesley, and I'm married into the Williams family here. And this is my wife, Annie, and my daughter, Tamara, which helped set this thing up. That's her back here in blue. All right. And we have all the rest of the family members that came out to be a part of this, okay? And the thing is, we don't want to stay too long, and we don't want to get too hot. So we're going to move this thing right along. And me, myself, I always like to begin with a word of prayer, folks. Because prayer works. Okay? So let's all bow our heads and have a word of prayer. Father in heaven, as we come to you this afternoon, we're so thankful, Lord God, that we're able to come out here, Lord God, and have this ceremonial dedication. We thank you, Father God, for each and every one that participated, Lord God. On this ceremonial and this dedication that we're coming to ahead today, and we thank you for this wonderful sky and the wonderful time, Lord God, that we can have. Thank you so much as we give you praise, honor, and glory. And everybody says, Amen. Amen. All right. Our order of dedication schedule goes like this. We'll have a list of words, which is the Charleston superintendent. Then we'll have something. A Charleston school principal, James Story, and keep Tabitha Hester in your prayers because of the tragedy in the family of Bank. And they wouldn't be here today, and they're attending something, that, we all go through, but I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, Ms. Irvin will be next on the schedule, and then we have our own ceremonial, and the person that we're dedicating this day to, Miss Barbara Ray Williams Dotson. And then we'll wind up with Ashley Sides, who is our Arkansas Preservation's Outreach Coordinator. And then we'll have some words from the family. Lazora Williams, she will be here, and then we'll unveil the sign, and we will all give thanks to the Lord and say, Amen. All right, without further ado, Miss Melissa Moore, would you please come forward?
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here and represent the Charleston School District on such a momentous and important occasion as this. I'm so proud to be a part of a school whose place in history is forever marked. And in 1954, when this action was taken by a school board and a superintendent, I don't know if they knew they were making history or not. I doubt it, because many times it's just ordinary people that end up doing extraordinary things. And that's what those folks did at that time. They made a decision 2 months after that the Supreme Court said separate is not equal, and they made that decision within 2 months that we're going to bring everybody in this community to school at Charleston. And that's why we get to be here today on this beautiful home place, honoring that and the students who started, the original 11 students, and also Miss Barbara, who was the first to graduate students. I mean, that took courage. I know it did. My father was a student at Charleston in first grade when this decision was made, and when everyone started to school at one location. And so he's told me about it through the years. And I am so proud that the Williams family, and there were other families that were involved in this, had the courage, and that the people in the community and that ran the school and the school board had the courage to do the right thing at the right time and be a leader in that, and that's what we were. And we're out here on this beautiful home place today, dedicating this beautiful sign and this location to this family who were trailblazers, because I've tried to think of it from every angle, and I'm so proud of the superintendent and school board for making the right decision, but I'm so proud of the students who had the courage to go to school with my dad in first grade. He was in first grade and went all the way through. So it was extraordinary on many fronts. We had trailblazers on many fronts, and I'm proud to continue that legacy in the Charleston School District, and hope that we always do the right thing at the right time, because we're still just ordinary people, but we want to do extraordinary things, and that's what happened in 1954. And I'm so very honored and proud just to get to speak today on behalf of the school district and those people that came before me that did the right thing. And I hope and pray that, given the opportunity, that I would do the same for the school, and that our school board and our community would make those decisions again and be a leader in doing the right thing at the right time. I thank you, and I will pass this on to Mr. Story, and we just appreciate getting to be a part of this today.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. I would like to thank the family in allowing me to participate in this celebration. There you go. I'm not much of a speech maker, but I'm going to try. My earliest memory of this family, believe it or not, I was 5-year-old, and my dad loved to hunt. He hunted deer, actually, and if you about a mile over here, there's a road called Bollinger Road. There's 2 roads over here, and you can drive them. You used to drive them and hunt and do about what you wanted to. But every Thanksgiving, we'd have the most fun because it would be just a big hunt. A lot of my dad, I was 5 years old, and he put me in a car with RB Senior. Pigtails. I don't know which girl it was. Cute little pigtails. And I drove around all morning with RB and this strange girl, this strange people, and we hunted. But anyway, and of course I never will forget this. RB loved my grandpa. My grandpa was Shorty Story, Marvin Story. We lived right down the road here. And RB Senior worked on all his own tractor and his own trucks and kept everything going. But RB said, me and your grandpa are just like brothers. I never will forget it. So there was a good family friend, and I never did forget that. But I'm probably the only person here that is hunting with RB Senior. So that was a fun time in our life. The Charleston High School integration, you look back at it, and there's been a lot of people take credit. We've had politicians that took credit for it for years, right, Miss Irvin? We had school board members, we had administrators. Guys, the real heroes in all this are you, this family here. You guys are the real heroes. You're the ones that went through everything. Certainly they did make some right decisions and some good decisions, but the real heroes in this would be Barbara and those 10 other kids that started school. And I'm not going to throw out the teachers. The teachers at Charleston High School, I'd love to give them credit because they always step up and do the right thing. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but teachers like us are lady, and I'm not going to talk long because she's the historian of this area, but I will say this, the real heroes in this would be Barbara and the 10 other kids that started school. So with that being said, I do appreciate this being able to speak, and I want to congratulate you on a very deserving Charleston High School, state of Arkansas historic site right here on your home property. So thank you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to the historian, Miss Irving.
My time? Somebody will have to hold it for me. And if it's all right with all of you, I'm going to sit right here in this chair because if I get up, not only will my hat blow away, but I might blow away. Well, I want to say another welcome. During World War II, I got a job working in a local department store after school, Saturdays and Sundays. My job consisted of cooking, keeping merchandise neat and orderly, plus many other duties as they arose. I was ordained when I was 14 years old, and believe it or not, my parents did not get a allowed me to work at it. Today, they would be given a lot of grief. But, you know, I was raised in the work ethic, and I am so thankful I was. We survived the Great Depression of the 1930s, and we ate what we raised, and we all worked to help get it planted and raise it, and then we gathered it in to preserve it. And back then I had the small hands, so I got to wash all those old fruit jars and make sure they didn't have any speck inside them that wasn't supposed to be there. But that was all right. I learned from that experience, and I always wanted to learn. Now this job that I got had special benefits that I didn't know were going to happen. The new merchandise was shipped by train to the train depot in Charleston, and it was about 3 or 4 blocks away from the back door of the Thrifty store. That was the name of the store that I worked in. And the depot agent would deliver the new merchandise for a little fee. But these two older ladies had just come out from the Great Depression, and they knew what it was, how much just a penny meant. So they decided that they wouldn't pay the depot agent to bring the new merchandise up to the store. They'd let me take a little red wagon down there and load it in there and pull it back up to the back door and into the store. And our store was next door to the drugstore. And oh, you know, these pretty little girls got to work in the drugstore behind the soda fountain, and they got to walk on the sidewalks to get there. They never had mud on their saddle Oxfords. But one day one of the girls said to me, "Mary Bell, aren't you really embarrassed to be pulling that wagon around town?" I said, "No, it's a lot of fun. I've never had a red wagon before." We didn't. I had two brothers and two sisters, and we never had a wagon. Bought one for the grandchildren, though. And this store was being managed by these two ladies for another gentleman who lived down in central Arkansas. And I'm sure he went right along with them saving that little fee for him. One Saturday, in came this nice young couple, a pretty lady and a young man in the military. And they wanted to look at shoes. And I took them back to the shoe department. And we looked at different shoes. What they really wanted was to find a pair of shoes for their oldest child, what was just a toddler at that time, I think. And I found out their names was R.B. and Victoria Williams. And so that was my first introduction to R.B. and Victoria Williams. But I had previously met R.B.'s parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bert Williams. So I thought, well, there's this generation and here's this generation. And I was so glad that I had been able to make that connection. And the best benefit of all of that job was meeting many new people who became friends with me. And I can tell you, in the fall of 1959, I began my 52-year teaching career in Charleston School. And I was privileged to get in my second grade Fannie Williams, Mildred Williams, Richie Williams, God bless his soul, Mary Williams, and Bercy Williams. And they were always obedient to our classroom rules. They were motivated from home to come to school to learn. They weren't motivated to come to school and goof around. And they didn't. Of course, you know I wouldn't have allowed it anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
And they were always respectful and polite. And I loved each one, and I still do. They're still my boys and girls. And when I heard of Richie's death, he left behind his wife Margaret and his children and Margaret has been a good mother to them. Now, very lucky the R.B. and Victoria Williams children were to have them for their parents. The work ethic which I was taught and the Williams children were taught, that along with learning to read and to continue reading all of our lives, makes for a happy life. Reading is the key to education, and education is the key to success. And that doesn't mean that you just read one little series of books. You read a wide variety of books, because when you read this wide variety of books, you can go back in time, you can go forward in the future, you can go into space and explore, and you can go into the center of the earth. You can see the beautiful creations in the bottom of the ocean, or you can climb to the highest mountaintop. You can travel the world, visiting the many different countries and their people. You can learn about great inventors and scientists and sportsmen, of course. And we used to have good actors and actresses with clean mouths in the movies.
Yeah, come on.
But I'm not going to brag on what goes on today. You know, you can read and learn about our Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the founders of this great and wonderful United States of America.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like that today you can see the fruits of Victoria and R.B.'s labors when you see their children and what they have been able to do to bring this to fruition. And it honors them, and it will honor this generation and the next generation. So I pray blessings on all of you. I hope you have the rest of your life be healthy and happy and successful. And I love you all. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you today. And I hope I've not offended anybody anymore. You know, you can't use the English language. Somebody takes a word, makes it into something else, and I hope I didn't use any of those words that have gotten polluted.
All right, God bless you. Okay.
I'm thankful for this event today, which Miss Irvin and Tamara Wesley and Robert Wesley and Fanny Wesley got it together here today. And if it weren't for them, it wouldn't be going on. So I'm just thankful to be here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to be here with you all today and to celebrate this historical marker and to commemorate Mrs. Barbara Williams Dotson and the rest of the family and all of those who were part of this historical integration of the Charleston schools. My name is Ashley Sides. I am the Preservation Outreach Coordinator at the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program. and I come from the office that does these markers. I didn't do this one because that was my predecessor in this position. But you may be looking at it thinking, wow, that's a really nice looking marker. You know, what kind of marker is that? Where does a marker like this come from? So I want to tell you a little bit about the official state Arkansas Historical Marker Program, of which this marker is a part. So we put out about 10 of these markers each year. It's a relatively new program. You know, as you go around the state of Arkansas, you see all kinds of historical markers. Many of them are very, very old. And they're different sizes, different shapes. They're put up in different eras by different organizations under different programs. So this program was just started in 2017 by the Division of Arkansas Heritage. We do about 10 of these per year. This one is just number 23 in the series. Now the state of Arkansas does not originate these markers. We don't initiate them. We don't choose what gets to be commemorated. We rely on the public to surface the stories that need to be told and the places that need to be marked. It's really at the grassroots level, and then we partner with them. And so at this time I really want to take a moment and express gratitude to Ms. Tamara Wesley, Mrs. Fanny Wesley, Mrs. Mary Bell Irvin, and anybody else that had a significant role in working hard to make this marker a reality. And also I'll give credit to my colleague at Arkansas Heritage, Ms. Stephanie Wade, who was the one that worked on this marker. So these markers in our program, they commemorate the past by acknowledging the historically significant people, places, events that shape our state. I think they're also a fun way to educate the public about these things, these Arkansas treasures. You know, historical markers are wonderful because they enrich people's daily lives. They link us with important events from the past. People have been putting up historical markers since ancient times. In the Bible, Joshua puts up a marker of stones and says, when people see this in future generations, they're going to ask what this is all about. And then that's an opportunity to tell the story about what happened here, a significant event. And that's exactly what you all have done with this marker. This marker, standing here at the historic home site of the Williams family, it's not just any ordinary place. This is a place with a story to tell, a very important story. A young woman once lived here who, when the long-awaited moment arose, stepped up and stepped into history. She was a pioneer, along with the others who went to school that first year. She was on the local front line of a battle being fought across the whole country. And in Charleston, thankfully, the battle for school integration, that step in the long struggle for equal rights, occurred more peacefully than it did in other places. And I don't need to tell you all this story because it's your story. It's a wonderful story, and you're sharing it now through this marker and other means, sharing it with the world. So this community has a special place in the history of our state and of our nation. And that's what a person learns when they pull off the highway here and they see the shiny sign and they stop to read this marker. May this story be told and retold, and may that memory never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here. I'm Lazora Williams, the daughter of Robert Williams, sibling to Barbara Dotson, and I've been charged with reading of the sign. This is from Charleston High School Integration. On July 27th, 1954, the Charleston School Board unanimously voted to integrate all levels of its public school system, becoming the first in the South to do so. The board's decision was in response to the May 17, 1954 United States Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka. which determined that segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. On August 23, 1954, 11 black students, Barbara Dotson included, including 3 ninth grade graders and 8th grade elementary school children, attended classes alongside 480 white students. The integration was peaceful, so it attracted little notice outside of this area. And I would like to invite Tamara Wesley to come read the other side of the sign that she worked so diligently to become possible for us all. Again, that's part of her legacy. Continued on the other side, Charleston High School integration. Barbara Williams, one of the 11 students to enroll in 1954, lived in this house along with her parents, Arby and Victoria, and her 9 siblings, Ruby, Etholia, Sylvia, Fanny, Mildred, Mary, Robert, Richie, and the great Percy. In 1961, Barbara Williams was the first African American woman to graduate from high school. In 1998, Charleston High School was designated as a national commemorative site, the first in the nation, throughout legislation authorized by the United States Senator and Charleston native Dale Bumpers. Again, concluding, I'm so thankful that we were a part of this as a group of children, as a group of community leaders, as a group of educators, to tell a story. To tell a story of one woman who did not have fear. Fear against all odds. We all know there were times where people were being hosed with water. They were having rocks thrown at them, and they were not allowed to ride on a school bus. All because they needed an education. And like Miss Irvin said, education is the key to success. It's just the foundation. And today we are standing on that foundation. So we ask that you continue to unite together as we united to put this sign. It's just a place in the ground. But again, it's a foundation like roots, and it continues to grow. So I ask that we continue not just today to work together to share education, but share your poems. Bring out your encyclopedias. Teach your children about their family legacy so that one day they can mentor and share the story of another. But today we just thank you for coming out as a community and as family. So continue to teach people about the greatness of education so that we can all have access to a great quality of life. So thank you all for coming out. And we take a moment of silence.
Tanner, could I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
The unity that has been displayed here today is something that this entire nation should adopt and adapt in their lives right now.
Amen.
Not next year or the next year. In this country, it does nothing but create bitterness in their lives. And I love happy people. I want everyone to be happy. We have that opportunity in this great country to do just that. But we have to work with each other. We don't have to agree with everything that I think or they think, but we don't have to be so ugly and hateful. And let's cut all that out. And if we're doing that, don't do it anymore.
Hey, way to go,
Thank you again for passing the torch. And I too am going to pass the torch to our representative from Mr. Bozeman office. Is that correct? That's correct. And she'll share a little bit about her experience today. Yes, thank you.
All right. I was going to come over that way. We can get a little reception.
Thank you so much for having me today. We invited Senator Bozeman, but he's in Washington, D.C. in session right now, so he sent me. I'm out of the Fort Smith office for him, so I'm so happy to be here. I'm honored. This is an amazing occasion. I'll bring the senator by here when he's in town, and I'm just grateful that I could experience this and that you invited me. I just really appreciate it. It's such a wonderful cause, so thank you so much.
If you would like to come in, this is a grandson of Miss Barbara Williams Dotson.
How everybody doing? I just want to thank all y'all for coming out, and I want to give a special thanks to Tam and everybody who helped put all this together. And I want to give a special thanks to you, Grandma, because this is a way to show the generations, just a way to do it, just a way to live. And like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I want to give you a special thank you, Grandma. We all here because we love you, and you set a great path for us to follow behind.
Anyone else want to say? Sorry. Anyone else got anything to say before we conclude here? Now I got one more presentation for Barbara, my daughter Tamara, and Mr. This is just a little something about appreciation, ladies, for who you all are and what you mean to Charleston, to the historical society here. We want to thank y'all again. Anyone that's thirsty? Anyone that's thirsty? Oh, Mildred! Got one more speaker. Got her hand up.
Good afternoon. I'm Mildred Jones, and I am one of Miss Mary Bell Irvin's students. And I want to thank her and the Charleston Public School System in the past and the present system for everything that they have done for this family. And I want to thank Mrs. Irving for her family, her husband, her children. They went through it too. They were right there with us. And they were good students, and they were kind to us. And that old rock front house back there is the home where all 10 of RB and Victoria Williams' children were born. It was a happy home. It was a hard home. The land across the road, these fields, the ground, we worked the field, we planted so that we could eat. And we did it because of RB and Victoria Williams. And for Barbara, how courageous she was to step out and go into that school system. She was obedient to her parents and to the school system, and we thank her. And we're always thankful to Mrs. Irvin. She was the best teacher we ever had. All the teachers were great there, but she was the best. And we love her. We love her, and we thank her for everything she's done.
They were just so young, they didn't know any different.
Thank you again for coming, and take a picture of the front, the back, so you can read it at your convenience, study it, and know what did happen. And thank you, young people, for coming out. I know it's hot back there. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hi, my name is Versi Williams, and I just wanted to say I was sharing this with someone I knew, and as they read through the front of the monument, they said this was the first place in the South.
Yes, right. All
Now,
the former Confederate states.
And you know, I said, what? Now, in my own mind, generally I would tell people think Little Rock Central was the first school to integrate. But it was Charleston. So I always would say in Arkansas. But this monument has made me aware of something even more. You know, in light of a lot of the things that we've seen, You know, last year they were showing some things of George Lewis's life. And as they were doing a retrospective of his life, you know, there's been a lot of this Black Lives Matter and different things, and saying, what did your father say to you or that? But as I was watching that program, I began to realize that's what our parents taught us. We were doing the same thing going to Charleston that they were teaching those people to do, to go into locations that at that time were not availed to them.
Yeah.
And having to do it peaceably. Our parents always said, don't you go up there making trouble. But if anybody comes at you, you protect yourself.
Yeah, right.
So we were taught peaceable resistance. And, you know, I'm older, I'm 63, so I couldn't identify with the Black Lives Matter, because I said that's just like the hippies in the 60s and 70s, looking for justice as they see it. But after I saw the John Lewis information, I suddenly realized, wow, that was the same thing we were doing and didn't even know it. So again, this has made me aware that it's the first school in the South to integrate. That's a legacy for Charleston as well as this family. So thank you very much.
Arkansas wanted to claim being first.
Yes, ma'am.
We only integrated high school. And so we integrated first through 12 because we did not have public kindergarten then. See, we got that after Jeanette Rockefeller pounded on the legislature to give us public kindergarten.
Right.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody, and thank everybody for coming out. There is
Other families. Could you name all the other families that went in on that day? We don't have the record of 11. Does anybody?
We don't, but there were
Go ahead.
there were Ferguson.
You need the microphone? Would you like the microphone?
I can project pretty good. I got preached.
I'm Sylvia. My name's up there along with others. There were some folks that we really don't remember because quickly they moved away to find better jobs. They were going for education. But there were a lot of people that the names, you know, have kind of slipped into the past. Our names are up there because, you know, someone saw fit to acknowledge us historically, and specifically because Barbara Williams Dotson, was the first. And I always tell people that she was the first in the southern states, Confederate states. That's what I relate. I started in 55, so I'm older than a lot of you also. I didn't get Miss Irvin, but I've heard so much spoken about her by the rest. I had a lot of good teachers though. I had enough good teachers that when I went to Arkansas Polytechnic College, I was an A student. Kind of hard to believe. Someone who only wanted to be average. But from there, I went on to John Brown University, got my bachelor's degree. Mildred has a master's degree in education. Percy has a art degree, Bachelor of Arts. Fanny has a degree. So we all have gone on. Etholia was over the Kansas City Police Department, if you can imagine that big city. So Ruby Thompson, who's not here, she went on to be a social worker in St. Louis. Can you imagine being a social worker in St. Louis? But she did it for many years. A legacy, as said, and our parents taught us that if you learn, it can't be taken away from you. And that's what I encourage everyone here to remember. You know, we like to, I thought, and I will be honest, when I graduated from high school, I thought, I won't never have to read another book again. No. I went to several colleges before I obtained my master's degree. I continue to do clinical pastoral education. I'm currently a hospice chaplain at Mercy Health System. So we don't stop learning.
Right.
And we should, you all children, remember that. You know, you might graduate, but you never put the books down.
Right.
And that's how we have accomplished. That's how what we have passed on to our children, to study and learn. You know, you can study, but you might not learn.
That's right.
Tamara has her master's.
Tamara has a master's. I think she has a couple of masters, by the way. So it's a legacy, and we're proud of our parents, R.B. and Victoria Williams. You know, we couldn't have done it without them. We're also proud of our grandparents.
Sure. And Daddy would have said, I did all this. Talking about the young people.
Right. He would have said, these are all mine. And, you know, in the Bible, it does say, when we look at Abraham, they were all his. Even, you know, once his children started producing, they were all his. And I did on what Miss Irvin said. She said we need to come together and love one another. And in loving one another, Jesus gave us the commandment. He said, a new commandment I give you, that you love one another. He said that several times. And then he said, they will know that you are my disciples if you love one another.
To my understanding, I think that concludes all of our activities for today. And again, if you are needing any beverages, we just thank the high schoolers coming out from Charleston High School. We hope that you have a pathway to continue your education beyond this level, whether it be a career or whatever endeavors you choose to accomplish. But in life, let's continue to be united. In life, let's continue to pass the torch. In life, let's continue to mentor and be mentored, mentees and mentors, and be lifetime learners, as you've heard today. So thank you for your time and your involvement, and again, to honor Miss Barbara Dotson today for the integration of Charleston High Schools back in 1954 and continuing today.
Hey, Barbara's your grandmother.
Barbara is my aunt.
Oh, she's your aunt. Okay.
Yes, who is the sister of Fannie Wesley. Of course, she is the first African-American woman to integrate schools in the South, and that was started here in Charleston, Arkansas, with the teachers as well as administrators. That gave her a pathway to success.
And your Aunt Barbara.
Yes.
Okay, and so talk about what it took to get this here today on your family's property.
Yes, overall it took a lot of history. It took a lot of research. It was an honor to be able to work with the Bell Museum and Miss Irvin Bell, who is a historian as well as a teacher with the public schools. Of course, we came together and did a lot of research looking into the Arkansas encyclopedias, in addition to reaching out with executive government who could finalize the story to validate the accomplishments of the Williams family and the other legacy individuals who came together so that they could pursue education and have a great quality of life.
And talk about how big of a deal this is for your family, you know, when you guys realized that she was the first in the South.
Absolutely. Prior to Barbara Williams, of course, her mother was Victoria Williams, and she always said, do your best. In addition to saying doing your best, she would make literature available, such as encyclopedias and Bibles, and ways that we could learn and share information. So the root of it was doing our best, having access to information, and sharing that with others.
And so So, just how big a deal is for your family, though? How does it make y'all feel when you guys actually realize the significance of this?
Absolutely. In history, you always want to be a trailblazer. In life, you always want to open doors. If you can't go in a door, you want to make sure that someone has access to it. So today, this family has made the opportunity for many cultures to have access to education, then to establish their families and go on and have great careers. So it's a root here, which has created a blossoming foundation for many families, but it started with education.
And why did you guys choose to have this historical marker here on your family's property?
Absolutely. To have a historical marker, I believe there needs to be significance between 50 to 100 years. The house that was originally here standing was built by R.B. Williams, so that gave it the significance of it being built by hands, as well as being in the history books again for 100 years of significance and relevance. So that is why it's such a big deal. It starts with one family member who makes a sacrifice, and then they allow other people to grow from their experiences. So that's why we're here today.
And what grade was it then?
To my understanding, I believe she was implemented in the 9th grade, along with several other students who came in the 8th grade. I believe there was 11 students total, 11 African American students, and 480 Anglo-Saxon or Caucasian who or just whites. But it took the time for us to integrate as blacks and whites, but still yet be under the American infrastructure. So it's a wonderful opportunity of connectivity.
Anything else you could think of that you think is important for people to know about your aunt and about this?
Well, she made a lot of sacrifices, and in life we have to make sacrifices. But again, in life, to navigate, we have to have access to information. Reading is the key to that. So from this opportunity today, we understand that Barbara made a great sacrifice, and it was taking the opportunity to learn. And in life, we have to be lifetime learners. So it's not just a book that she opened in 1954. This is 2022, but we still have some of those relevant conversations that still need to take place so that we have equality. So that's the relevance. It starts with education, but on the mainstream, we're all looking for equality. That's the big picture. Unity.
And I guess the last thing is, she was welcomed by the Charleston School District. How does it feel to be part of a community who was welcoming back then in a time when a lot of people were not welcome?
Absolutely. To be embraced means everything for a person, whether they be in Charleston, Arkansas, Sebastian County, but specifically here in this area. To be embraced gives you the opportunity to be your greatest level of yourself. So I believe when people are, I guess you could say, allowed to be themselves, they reach their highest potential. And that's what you see here in Franklin County, as well as throughout Arkansas. But it started here.
Anything else coming now?
Keep reading. Education is the key. It opens up a pathway to success. Pass the torch to other people so they can grow and have access to information and just have a phenomenal life. Education is the key.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.